following is a presentation of iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Brilliant, isn't it? Making the Wild Kingdom look much better indeed. Do good, be a lion.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the virtual Michigan International Speedway from Brooklyn, Michigan, tonight live on LSRTV on iRacing Live. We get set for the ProGeek Cup Pure Michigan 200, part of the ASCORS ProGeek Consulted Cup Series. Continuing coverage right here on your home for live sim racing action, LSRTV, and we're happy that you're joining us tonight for the third round on the 2016 Segment 2 Championship as we get ready for some high-speed action. Qualifying in the works right now down trackside as we get set to run 85 laps and just a little bit shy of what's going to total out to be 170 miles start to finish tonight, and we're happy that you're joining us as every week here tonight on Sunday evening. And always topside with you, myself, Evan Pasoko, joined alongside with Andy Kessler and LSRTV's producer Cisco Scaramouza downstairs and pushing the buttons for us this evening. Andy, Michigan is a fun track. You want to talk about speeds, you're automatically going to think about Daytona, you're going to automatically think about Talladega, but here tonight at Michigan, we're going to see the fastest these trucks, or these cars are going to be hustling all season long, in excess of 200 miles an hour down into the corners. And I think one thing that you could look at it as a negative, but I almost see it as a positive a little bit, is we're not running on the lower downforce package that we saw the Sprint Cup guys run tonight, or rather earlier in the afternoon, which means that the speeds aren't really dropping way down in the center of the corner. These guys, they're hustling around this 2-mile D-shaped oval.
Yeah, that's probably the best part about Michigan. No restrictor plates. You're as fast as you can possibly carry that car all the way through the corners, down these long straightaways as well, too. A lot of momentum. You're going to need some draft will come into effect as well. This should be a good, fun race here. Wide open. 2-3 wide without any issues here at Michigan. Drivers tonight.
Brand new 2016 Cup cars on track. You got the new Ford Fusions as well as the new Chevrolet SSs. Brand new digital dashes. Much more to talk about as the night goes on, but as the field is just about a couple of moments away from being set, we'll toss things down trackside with Jaden Berkey. Get tonight's action underway with her rendition of tonight's national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, yet
But on that note, tonight's race about to get set to be underway. Qualifying behind us, let's head down trackside and take a look at tonight's LSRTV starting lineup. Talking about some numbers before we came on the air tonight, that I said that it's interesting that Ray Falla, who leads the championship standings, is not the driver with the most laps led. That title belongs to Ryan Lewis, scored 8th in the championship into tonight. He's in a good position to not only get more laps led, but to possibly look for a first trip to victory lane. The 0-2 going to start tonight from pole position with a 38.946, his second pole on the season. He's the only driver inside the top 10 on his second segment to have a pole position. Ray Alfalla right there, though, knocking on the door of the Alfalla Tech Ford. Going to roll from P2 behind the wheel. That number 2 Ford Fusion. Derek Bordeaux qualifies to the inside of row 2, starting in third. You'll have Taylor Hurst to his right-hand side in fourth, and Tyler Hudson rounds out your top 5 qualifiers.
Peak Chevrolet, the number 5 of Michael Conti will roll off 6th. 7th goes to John Gorlinski. Matt Busa, last week's winner at Pocono, will start 8th. 9th, Santiago Tires. And 10th will be the 36th of Bentley Glazer.
Just behind in the number 11 spot, you'll find the 88 Nationwide Chevrolet, Mark Jorgensen Jr. and Matthew Moose to the outside. In the number 12 spot, as cars begin to roll off the grid, we continue to take a look down to the starting lineup. Adam Gilliland will roll tonight from 13th, Landon Harrison in 14th position, and Josh Parker, P15.
Justin Fuller in the 51 will start 16th. Tyler Dalton, 17th. 18th goes to Jonathan Goke. And Daniel Eberhardt will roll off in that 19th spot, while Alex Bergeron in the 12 rounds out our top 20.
21st, going to go to Doy Woods, Austin Jones in 22nd. 23rd for Samuel Roush, Adam Benefield, 24th. And 25th is E.J. O'Rourke, P26, Trey Edson. Ray right now in the second. In 27th, 28th, Matt Quick, Michael Priester, the final driver. The qualifying time in 29th, first provisional P30 for Chad Coleman.
31st on back, Dylan C. Jones in the 03, Chris Shearburn, Chuck Sweeting, Joshua Campbell, and Jason Miller round out your 35 drivers. 36th, that'll be Garrett Smithley, Greg Spears, Paul Nicholas Cooper in the 38th spot, Bradley Havard, Brandon Hastings to 40th, Paul Fugate, John Wilco, and Steve Herring will round out this full field of 43 cars here tonight in Michigan.
Let's look at your LSRTV starting lineup for tonight's ProGeek Cup Pure Michigan 200. We get set to drop the green flag on 85 laps at 170 miles of action here tonight in the Irish Hills of Michigan. We're happy to have you with us right here on LSRTV and iRacing Live. The American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang GT pace car going to make the sharp left-hand turn to the wayside. Second time on this segment. Ryan Luza going to bring us out of turn number 4. He'll collect the green flag and underway for round number 3. Green flag in a dead heat at the start-finish line. Advantage to the inside by 1/1000th. Already up to the gears at 175 miles an hour to turn number 1.
Side by side for 4 or 5 rows deep right now off of turn number 2. All these drivers looking for a good showing here tonight, round number 3 of this season, or segment 2, I should say, of the season, this current season. And right now, look at Ray Alfalla using the outside lane off of turn number 2. He'll take over that race lead. While Matt Busa in the the 74 of Taylor Hurst on the outside, trying to make things happen. It's 3 wide. It's going to get pinched there for a moment. Michael Conti going through the middle. He'll pick up a couple spots right there, move him up now side by side for 3rd.
And that's the conclusion of lap number 1 of 85. Much like Pocono, which we saw just 1 week ago, the restarts and combined with very wide straights on this racetrack could provide for some very exciting racing. Luckily for Ray Alfalla, really wasn't all that climactic for him because he made a quick move, take over the race lead from Ryan Luza. The 2 car to the race lead, problems behind early though. Lap number 2, caution, gonna wave down on the back straightaway. Cars gonna duck high and low. We'll try to get out of the way, but a car around in the middle of the back straightaway. Caution flag is out early here from Michigan, and the issues come with the number 18 of Josh Parker sitting sideways in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, it all started with the 12 getting a little loose off the corner right in front of Josh Parker, and everybody else fanned out from there. It doesn't look like too much damage on any of these cars, so I think everybody will be able to get this thing right in the right direction, but yeah, that was just kind of a loose condition off the corner for the 12. It looked like he was able to hang on to it, but just all those cars being grouped up like they were, nowhere to go. The 18 ended up spinning himself out as well, and 91 of Daniel Eberhardt as well down to the inside on the apron. So A couple of guys having a little spin, a short spin here early in this one, lap number 2, but they'll all get it gathered up and get this thing back underway.
Yeah, I think he did a good thing. He saw the 12 get sideways, and he didn't want to, maybe take the obvious line, go to the outside, and have that car snap back up on him. So he went back down, and unfortunately for him, the 12 did the right thing, and that was once he figured out he wasn't, I think, going to gain control back of the Nesquik Chevrolet, spit it down to the apron, and unfortunately that's where the 18 decided to go. And again, a couple of guys bounced off each other. It could have been a lot worse, though. A couple of people take some heavy hits, but it could have been, again, many more cars involved. I think 3 or so total going to pick up a piece of damage, and the 12 car that really got loose to kickstart all of that, he did a good job of hanging on to it once he spun down trackside to the apron and out of the racing surface, so he is not going to be involved in any accident. Ray Alfala stays out. Luza Gorlinski-Conti is the first driver in from P number 4, the number 5 Peak Chevrolet. He comes in for 4 tires, while a couple of drivers, Matt Busa included, decide to go with just 2. And a race off of the pit lane, not going to be good for Conti at all. He'll lose more spots there as Hudson, as well as the number 9 machine, beat him off in the pit lane. Austin Jones coming from the back, another one of the drivers that takes just 2 tires. Plenty of strategy at lap number 3.
Yeah, early on, this is a good opportunity for those guys to take 2 tires to get some of the track position back. Maybe they didn't get during their qualifying session, so this will definitely mix things up quite a bit here, and all those guys up front staying out. It's exactly what Ray Alfala needed, staying out on the racetrack, is a bunch of guys to follow him as well to keep those guys honest back there with the 4 tires and give them a little bit of a grief to get back up through the traffic. So it's an early pit stop, not saying it should come down or you shouldn't come down, but obviously some choices between some of the drivers to mix it up just a little bit there, but he's going to put some big names further back in the field for this first restart.
Yeah, it is good to shuffle things up, but again, we talk a lot about strategy and whatnot, but I will say it is a little bit unique, I would imagine, to see this much strategy this early on in this race. Again, the guys who stay out, you're going to have guys on 2 tires. You're going to have the guys on 4 tires, which you could consider that to be the conservative call. You could also, I think, fairly easily argue that the conservative call is to stay out on the racetrack. But with so little laps on the tires, I don't think the guys coming up through the field, Andy, are really going to be doing so based on speed given to them by the tires. I think if they can get back up to the pack, it might be because they've been top 10 cars and they qualified in the top 10, finished inside the top 10 in practice. We'll have to see. But again, Michael Conti, the name that everybody come off of the pit lane, he took 4 tires and he is back in this time around for more service. So you want to talk about being in a sticky situation and then falling back more. He'll have 4 tires of service completed, sit in the stall, so he may have been stuck with a penalty that's going to send him to the back.
Yeah, it could have been a little strategy too as well, and they're not wanting to be right in the middle of the fray here for this restart either. So I don't think there's any damage that needed to be fixed. It looked like everything was pretty clean for the 5, so maybe just a call at this point, just since he was in the middle of the pack, might as well go to the back. And we've seen him do it many times, especially at segment 1, come from the back, not even qualify, and make his way up through the field and get himself a solid finish on the night. So plenty of time, 80 laps this time by for them left to go, and that's a lot of time here, 160 miles for these drivers to get it done from the back. So no worries, just as of yet. They'll try to get what they can. Pass a lot of cars is what it's going to be for the 5 of Michael Conti. But how about John Gorlinski? A lot of a great season he's had. I want to say the speed we've seen over the past probably 10 weeks or so out of that 21 machine, and another good qualifying effort for him as well, here inside the top 10. And staying out there, he'll be here top 3 here for this restart.
Lights off on top of the pace cars, so we will get to back at green flag conditions. We currently pace at lap number 6 under the yellow flag, so that time by, taking just 80 laps to go. Still plenty of time left to go here from MIS. Front row going to be Ray Alfala and then Ryan Luza, the 2 car. Did a spectacular job at taking over the race lead when we took the first green flag. Again, he kept them right there at the start finish on. They went down to turns 1 and 2, and he just overpowered them on the outside lane. So that being said, if Alfala can do it on the outside, maybe Luza can do it on the outside. Keep an eye for the Infinite Creative Solutions Chevrolet. The challenge for that race lead, top side on the racetrack. These guys are being told to go at the drop of the green flag, so it should be pretty even amongst the drivers on the front row as opposed to that control car getting the large jump that you would have expected early.
Yeah, a little bit of a change up there for these drivers, but at the same time, it'll make things that much more interesting for us on these restarts and for you watching at home that you get to see these cars really wind it up all together in a nice little pack like we saw in that first start of the race there when we had the first 5 rows all still double file here going off into turn 1 and 2. So it's going to make the restarts all that much more important too for these drivers to be up on the wheel and not give up any spots from guys behind them.
We get set to do it all over again. First time, we'll get a restart on the night. Pace car, get it ducked down and away. Ray Alfala awaits the American Ethanol green flag. You have to wait, hold them back until they get to the restart zone. Green flag waves back underway. Outside lane right there. In fact, Luza with the advantage.
They'll have the slight advantage now. Look at John Gorlinski looking to make it 3 wide now on the bottom side into turn number 1. A pretty good jump by the 21 machine. They'll make it stick for the moment, but how about Ray Alfala really getting on the gas there, not wanting to be in that 3 wide action. They'll pull out now, single file with Luza, and they'll take that race lead now. A slight advantage now over the second place or third place battle. We got here Jorgensen on the outside. Now here comes the one of Trey Edson.
Edson wants to get into the party. He restarted in 8th, but is making up a lot of headway. And his line off the quarter going to be taken away because here comes the 88 machine. Top side, Mark Jorgensen, who restarted in 3rd. Fell back a little bit after that restart and was able to pick the momentum back up down on the far end of the racetrack. It is P5 at the start finish on Edson, and nose in front of him for 4th, and a little bit of a slide job. He'll drive it in hard to the corner, slide up in front of the 88, take away his line, and he gets to the race lead. So just like that, Edson to P4, Jorgensen in the number 5 spot. That's all behind Alfala 1, Luza 2, and John Gorlinski 3. They ended up sorting out in the exact order that they restarted in after they went 3 wide to turn 1.
Yeah, we had some 3 wide action the last time off of turn number 4. We have it right now with Hudson down through the middle in that 01 machine. This is a battle for around that 10th spot right there. The 4 of Derek Bordeaux to the inside. He was actually involved with that little bit of contact that last lap with E.J. O'Rourke, who was inside the top 10, fell off into the grass, spun it out, no caution. It was a single car off the racetrack. They'll be able to get it back up to speed, but now finds himself way far behind here. E.J. O'Rourke in that 40th spot as these guys up front continue to battle and continue to make their way up towards the front of the field, and pretty good battles all over the racetrack. And that's what the type of racing we will see at this racetrack. You see the 74 right now, Taylor Hurst. He's looking to the inside now of 19 of Dalton. He'll get that spot off of turn number 4, and that'll single file everything out outside the top 10.
Yeah, for the moment, we get spread out just a little bit, but again, the speed's so high that everybody is going to be on top of each other all night long because the draft is obviously extremely important with a very long back straightaway, obviously a very long front stretch as well. Drafting is a big thing, and it's going to keep groups of cars kind of stuck together. You're still going to get single filed out. You're going to have 3 or 4 impacts that really can't break all that far away. You can see your leaders almost showing a very similar situation, and in fact, you can see it with the 1 of Trey Edson and the 80 to Mark Jorgensen Jr. Bumper to bumper, coming off at turn 4, and like this for the last 3 laps since Edson made the move for that position. Just behind them, Justin Fuller is right there into 51. Landon Harrison right there as well in 7th position into number 70 Chevrolet. So a 4-car battle, all those drivers within just 4/10 of each other.
Yeah, this is what you're going to see a lot at Michigan and try to get these runs off the corners. And you see Jorgensen now a little bobble by the 1, maybe a brush with the wall. It's going to open up the inside. Jorgensen going to think better of it, though, and stay in line right now. But this is what you'll see. These guys stay in these little packs like this because of the draft, and that helps out tremendously if you can stay within the draft. But when you get a group like you have, the top 3 right now, they're starting to put some distance on that 1 of Trey Edson. So it wouldn't be long if they could stay single file, similar to Daytona or Talladega. You'll see this group catch back up to these leaders.
We still sit after that opening incident with 40 drivers on the lead lap. Garrett Smithley scored a 41st, and Josh Parker scored a 42nd, are the only drivers ahead behind the wall so far tonight. And Bentley Glazer, who qualified in the number 10 position, did not take the start. He'll end up tonight 43rd with a DNS. Side by side, inside of the top 5, Jorgensen going to make his move to the bottom, side by side, coming off at turn 4, and Fuller waits in the wings. He might not decide to stay behind in line and may think about a little bit of 3-wide action instead he holds the inside lane. And really, these guys pushing Trey Edson out by himself. Top side, that battle heads to turn 2. The 88 car is clear.
Yeah, the 88 clear. Now the 51 looking to make it clear. The 70, Landon Harrison coming now to the inside of Trey Edson off of turn number 2. They'll race it out side by side, a drag race down the back straightaway. How about the 01 of Tyler Hudson getting a little bump there from the 4 of Derek Bordeaux as he's trying to make his way around Adam Gilliland now in that 8 machine. They're both on the outside, trying to make the outside lane work. It might come in later on as the tires wear out and as the rubber builds up in the racetrack. But for the time being, that bottom side still the place to be. Here comes the 01 now, 3 wide on the front stretch.
And it's Hudson. I told you I wasn't convinced that he was going to stay 2 wide, and if the 70 can drive it in, they will be. He'll back it off, though, as Edson goes hard into turn number 1, and they're going to double file things out, but 2 wide, 3 rows deep now in corner number 2. Hudson going to clear the ball. He'll be able to slot him in behind the number 1 and score himself in the number 6 position, and it's Harrison side by side with Derek Bordeaux coming up the bottom, with the number 4 Ford now into what's going to be P7.
That's a good job following. Why not follow those guys through right now? The biggest loser on that one right there, I would say, would be the 8 machine of Adam Gilliland. Find himself now outside the top 10 as Tyler Hudson still trying to make up some ground here. He's inside of the 1 of Trey Edson. Edson just seems to be falling back ever since this restart. Was able to get that 4th spot, but once he got that over the last few laps, he's just lost about 3 or 4 positions now. So he's continuing to slide back here. Just the older tires staying out. Maybe not the call that the 1 needed.
Yeah, we talked about the varying strategies. Well, Hudson has been under attack, no doubt. The 4 up the inside of the racetrack. He had cleared the 1 of Trey Edson. Edson was kind of able to fight back a little bit on the outside, but is finally going to concede that positioning. So the number 4 machine this time by the slotted line behind Hudson, and he does get that number 7 spot. And now, once again, Edson going to have to deal with another car up his inside. This time it's Landon Harrison who drives it in just hard enough to turn 1 to get clear. So the Credit 1 Chevrolet going backwards, which for Trey Edson, you can look at it in 2 spectrum as he gets way sideways at a turn number 2. Those tires not being very friendly on this run. They're not going to be much better now. Way out of shape, hangs on. He's going to lose 3 more spots with Gilliland, Bergeron, and Tierrez coming by as he fights back on the bottom. Those are old tires. He started 26th. He runs in 12th right now, so it could be a lot worse, but it was definitely a gamble that if you continue on this green flag stretch for a long period of time, may not work out for him.
Yeah, he needs a caution here probably within the next 5 laps or so to limit the damage of falling backwards that he's getting right now, because he is getting mixed up right now with guys that did come down pit road, get those 4 tires. So you see the advantage that the 4 tires did have, even though it was only 2 or 3 laps that we had under the green flag conditions early in this race. So there still is a slight advantage, and it's just showing up later on in the run. And it's one of those things, especially the way we saw that 1 come off the corner there. It really heats the tires up. You can see it just heats them up, and it just makes for no grip at all. And the 5 of Michael Conti now coming around him as well. So move Conti now up to the 14th spot after starting outside the top 20 there after coming down a couple times during that caution flag.
So not only, I guess this is the best way to point this out. That 1 machine now of Trey Edson is 15th, and the 5 of Michael Conti is 14th. He was at the back. 4 tires coming in at the 1 to go. Sat on pit road for a little bit. He was at the back of the field, and he's just passed up Trey Edson. That's how important tires are going to be here today.
It is going to be important. It's going to be important to see, but at the same time, the 4 tires hasn't done anything to get some of these guys up towards the front of the field here. First driver, Tyler Hudson, with the tires coming down pit road. He's up to 4th now, but he's got quite a bit of a distance now to get himself a 2-second gap, 1 second up to the 3rd place driver of John Gorlinski. So he's got a lot of time to make up, and it definitely would slow things down for him to come up through the field. It took him a while to get around the traffic that he had to get around. So that it is a call. It is going to be an advantage, but the longer you run like we did, and him trying to chase or get around all those guys, it makes it that much easier for the leaders to pull away as well.
They're really starting to stretch things out now. 19 laps into this contest, and it's starting to turn out in a 2-horse race. Ray Alfala got the race lead early, hasn't looked back. but Ryan Luza is keeping him in his sights. And again, Alfala leads the championship standings into tonight's race, and with 2 races completed on the second segment, has an average finish of a 1.5. He's got a trip to victory lane, and he has a runner-up finish. Ryan Luza trying to hand him another P2 result here tonight because the 0-2 in search of his first trip to victory lane, sitting now with 2 pole positions on the season, including tonight, but no finishes so far inside of the top 10. He's looking for a complete race here after having an average starting position ending of a 3.5, but an average finish through 2 races of 14. The 0-2 needs to work on execution, and he'll try to execute a pass for the race lead. Lap number 21 to the inside and door-to-door for the point.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at this battle here off of turn number 2. And the top side's going to get the small advantage there. Ray Alfala able to keep about a half a car length lead. Currently, the 0-2 of Ryan Luza, though, he should have won last week at Pocono. The dominant car, and just made a call at late in the race with about 6 or 7 laps to go to come down pit road to get tires. Thought everybody else was going to come down with him. And that resulted in a finish that he wasn't happy with last week. So I'm sure things will change a little bit this week. He takes over the race lead now from starting on the pole. That's the first lap. You'll see that 0-2 lead so far here tonight, and does in pretty relative easy fashion right there. Ray Alfala basically letting him go. Just behind him, though, Tyler Hudson, he's still coming. He's caught up to John Gorlinski now on the back bumper, along with the 4, Derek Bordeaux. Bordeaux doing a good job following that 0-1 ever since he got around him.
He's been doing a very good job of just keeping him in the sights. Again, that's the ultimate objective. If you can keep that guy there, you let him know that you're there, maybe you can do something with him on a very long stretch. But these 3 cars, something's going to have to give. Hudson to the inside. He has loved making that dive to the bottom so far here tonight. The 8 is on wraps forward. Looks for another spot. Still advantage outside. Gorlinski at the start. Finish on a 3-way battle now for the number 3 spot. Hudson going to move up to P3. The 4 car going to take over that 4th spot now. Gorlinski falls in behind for 5th. And that position not even safe because here comes Taylor Hurst.
Yeah, Taylor Hurst in the 74 on the same strategy as the 0-1 and the 4 as well, so it wouldn't be too long. I would think you would see him get a run. You can see right there the closing rate getting into the corner. Almost got into the back of the 21 of John Gorlinski. So obviously with these tires worn out, the let-off point for these guys, the entry of the corner is definitely a lot different right now, and you can see that Gorlinski going to lose here on the straightaway. It's going to allow the 74 now to move up to the inside. Battle just in front of him, though. How about Tyler Hudson letting the 4 go? Derek Bordeaux now takes over that 3rd spot as they work their way through 1 and 2, and they're also closing the gap on the race leader as well. They've knocked off about a half a second over the last 5 or 6 laps, so the second pack, even with the 4 fresh tires, they are being able to make up some ground on your leaders.
Yeah, we talked about packs. How about a battle just behind that? The number 5 of Michael Conchi going to pick up a position to the inside on Mark Jorgensen Jr. And the 88 now back 2 spots on this lap because Santiago Tires as well made a change for position. So the 6 going to go up to the number 8 spot. Conchi going to take over P9. But again, you have these groups of cars because of the draft. They can't get away from each other. P1 and P2 with 0.2 of a second apart. And then a big gap. You got 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. All clumped together, and in this battle that we were just talking about with Harrison, Tires, Conti, Jorgensen, and company, you got groups of cars, and really from there on back, I don't really see any large breakups in a pack. A lot of single file, which means lots of opportunity for passing, but things calm at the moment. And Luza tries to pull away at the front of the field. The Infinite Creative Solution Chevrolet SS, 0.2 in front.
0.2 in front, coming to 60 to go here as we complete lap number 25. And these guys all getting set, probably these front runners here getting set for a what would be a fuel stop, probably in about 10 or 15 laps or so. We might see these guys come in. The tires are going to start wearing out. That's why you're going to, they already are wearing out, I should say, but they're going to get to the point where it's almost unmanageable and undrivable for these guys. And that usually happens around that 30 to 35 lap mark. Even though they still have some fuel in the tank, you'll see some of these guys around that point come in and take service for their vehicles. Plus, that'll put them on a 2-stop cycle for this race as well, too. So we're in that window. 2 stops it could be. They come down any point from now.
Yeah, and 1 car to the inside out of turn 4, and slow is the number 51 of Justin Fuller. He'll do just that. The NOS Energy Drinks entry down pit road for service, and he's the first driver in amongst the guys that have been up front coming in at lap number 26.
Yeah, he'll come down, probably try to take advantage of the fresh tires as well. We saw how well it worked for those guys. Even over 3 laps, you see Tyler Hudson, Derek Bordeaux up to the 3rd and 4th spot right now, and still closing the ground as well. They made up 2/10 over the last 3 or 4 laps, so it's still working for him. Right now, though, the difference is going to be tremendous here, almost probably 2.5-second difference with the fall off of these tires. So the 51 coming down, trying to take advantage of that, pitting early.
Yeah, I'm surprised to find, looking at some telemetry for your race leader, Ryan Luza, his fastest lap came at lap number 8. That was 2 laps following the restart that we had. From that point to now, we have seen 1.9 seconds of fall off and now 2 seconds of fall off at his lap time. So we know that tire fall off is going to be a big topic of conversation on the night, but it is interesting to note, seeing how much we saw people who stayed out on tires struggle compared to those that came in to get 4 fresh ones. Luza put down his fastest lap with those quote-unquote old tires off of that first restart as he stayed out at the front of the field. Behind Alfala, problems with Bordeaux, the 4, hard into the outside wall. The 1-up Motorsports entry going to grind across the outside barrier out of turn 4, slow all the way down the front straightaway, and Tyler Hudson with nowhere to go, plowed into the back of him. He got clipped by Taylor Hirsch, and a whole lot of cars scatter. Caution flag just now flies as the 01 pulls back up onto the racing surface. Yellow lap number 29. Just as we started to get green flag pit stops underway, a tough break for the NOS Energy charged Citrus entry. Came down on a short pit because he's 1 lap down.
Yeah, the 21 of Jordan Gordolinski as well came down pit road and him a little bit as well too, so we'll see where everybody shakes out. They might possibly, nope, they're a lap down, so they're gonna have to get the wave around. This is not what they wanted. Gorlinski, I think, is going to be shown though as the lucky dog, so he might luck out on this one, but he'll still have a lot of traffic to get through. So trying to make that's the only bad part of and about trying to make these short pit scenarios and trying to get the advantage on the tires. When you do that, you end up sometimes costing yourself a lot of time on pit road, and if the caution comes out, you cost yourself a lap.
And it just happens to be one of those things in racing that I think quite literally you have no control over. A couple of guys get out of shape in turn 4, and the caution flag is out. No fault of your own, you're 1 lap down. The good news is going to be for Justin Fuller is he actually loses that lucky dog position. That goes to John Gorlinski, so the 21 is guaranteed to get back to the lead lap. All the leaders have to come down pit road. All of the drivers on the lead lap would have to come down for him to get his lap back. And I think Eberhardt stays out, which means that wave by may not happen for Fuller, Bergeron, Dalton, and Jones, who are the drivers off of the lead lap without the guaranteed wave by. Your leaders, they are coming down pit road, though a long drive for Ryan Luza at 55 miles an hour as he heads to the number 1 pit stall.
Yeah, he's heading down, so is the 2 of Ray Alfala coming to get service to their car. It's going to be a no contest, 4 tires of fuel for these guys here on this stop, without a doubt here, 30 laps into this run. A great job managing their tires and getting as far as they did on this. Obviously, green flag pit stops were getting ready to happen anyway. It looks like the 89 of Matt Quick will just roll through pit road, but the 02 of Luza, he will win the race off of pit road along with the 2 just behind him, Ray Alfala.
So Lou's going to maintain the position up at the front of the field. He gets 4 tires in service that time by Matt Quick, going to be scored in front of him. The 89 drives through and does not take service under this caution flag. But I think when it all cycles through, we might just see a new driver go to the front of the field. Justin Fuller, Alex Bergeron and company, they're all going to be able to get a wave by because Daniel Lee Eberhardt is no longer in this race, and he was that driver that would have prevented him from getting the wave by. Luza going to maintain the point in the ProGeek Cup. Pure Michigan 200 will take this opportunity under the second yellow to take one of our own. Step aside for just a moment, and when we come back, we race to the halfway point. You're watching the ASCORS ProGeek Consulted Cup Series on LSRTV and iRacing Live. We're back live from the virtual Michigan International Speedway. The second caution flag going to be behind us in just a moment. And we get set to go back under green flag racing conditions in the ProGeek Cup Pure Michigan 200, part of the ASCORS ProGeek Consulted Cup Series on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Evan Pasoko, Andy Kessler, Cisco Scaramuza, happy to be with you on your Sunday evening. We're going to have a restart as 33 laps go behind us, and control car to the inside, Ryan Luza, with the new face on the outside of the front row, and Adam Gilliland, P2, going to bring us back to the green flag.
Adam Gilliland, he stayed out, but I think he came down pit road just as that yellow, so he's going to luck out here. As this pace car hits the pit road, they wait, green flag in the air. Michael Conti trying to give a push to the 8 as they head off into turn number 1. Pretty good start for the top 3. Ray Alfalo a little bit behind there. He'll jump in the line on the outside. How about 3 wide for the race lead? Not going to quite happen just as of yet, as Conti looks way to the high side, and it's a real close racing between the 02 and the 8. They're side by side still off turn 2.
Yeah, they were side by side, all right. They were rubbing the 02 and the 8, getting up the speed. Conti going to force his way to the outside. That's going to take away the line from Adam Gilliland as he stays in line behind Luza, and the Peak Chevrolet from the back to the front trying to complete that charge in less than halfway distance here. He'll have to wait at least one more time around, clearing for the number 2 position and swinging to the inside. You go on board with Michael Conti as he chases down Ryan Luza, who goes back to the front of the field and continues to add to the season high most laps led total that he has so far through 2 races, and then including tonight. But the 5 machine wants to change that. Conti, who started P6, found himself in penalty trouble early and fell back, is now the highest he's been all night in P2.
Yeah, what a drive from all the way through the field, basically passing as many cars as he's done in as little time as he's done. And you can see how fast that car is. Look at the center of the corner. They really closed the gap on Ryan Luza as they exit turn number 4, and the 8, the 2 in tow right now with the draft. So Adam Gilliland doing a good job hanging on to one of these top spots right now, even though he basically was out there on 1 lap with those tires. So a good call by him to stay out rather than lose all that track position. And right now he'll stay inside the top 3 as the 5 still looking for a way around Luza, just unable to get the job done now as they still single file into 3.
Up at the front of the field, things have until this one, but they are still, as you mentioned, single file, but bumper-to-bumper traffic coming off of the final turn. Luza, followed by Conti, Gilliland, Alfala, and Hurst, the top 5. Harrison, Moose, Benefield, Jorgensen, and Goke inside the top 10. And Benefield just made that move on Jorgensen for the number 8 spot the last time by.
They did. Jorgensen doing a good job. First time in this series in segment 2, making the starts, and been having some good runs, running inside the top 10 with these guys, competition level. Mentioned or talked to him Friday night about it, and he said it's just so much fun to run with these guys, and we know Jorgensen can get the job done at the super speedways. It's fun to see him when we're so used to seeing him only at super speedways to come out here and really give good runs at these intermediates and at these other tracks here. Change for a 3rd position, though. Here comes Ray Alfala now to the inside. He'll make that pass before they enter turn number 1. Move Adam Gilliland now back to the 4th spot. We'll have to contend now with the 74, Taylor Hurst, as they exit turn.
And meanwhile, up in front of the field, battle for the race lead. The 5 peaks to the inside. Can't do anything with that. And that battle going to wait for one more time around the racetrack. But you want to talk about somebody that knows how to apply the pressure. That's exactly what the number 5 Peak Chevrolet is doing right now. And I think Conti searching a little bit behind him, sideways off the final corner. Adam Gilliland, all kinds of out of shape. That's going to cost him the position to Taylor Hurst, who comes up the inside to P4.
Yeah, that's just going to show that 1 or 2 laps he was out there with those tires just showing up right now, like we saw a little bit further on, or earlier on, I should say, with that one of Trey Edson falling back the way he did. Adam Gilliland, though, he'll try to hang on to a top 10 position on this run, and so far so good in the top 5 still, but it's going to be a little bit of a gap between him and the 70 of Landon Harrison, so he's got a little bit of breathing room for the time being, trying to get into a rhythm, trying to get into a groove, and figure out which lane can carry him as much speed as possible here. Not much changing up front, though. We thought the 5 of Michael Conti had the faster car, but just the patience, I think, showing for that Peak Antifreeze driver right now, not wanting to force the issue early.
patience also is a key. And you might sound funny talking about patience in the same conversation, about talking about somebody who wants to keep pressure up. But at the same time, the two do very well go hand in hand. And Alfala's not out of this picture yet by any means. Conti just put himself right in the middle of it because it was the 0-2 and the 2-1-2. The 5 now just sits in the middle of that fight. But that Alfala Tech machine is not going anywhere. The SimStimX Entry as well on board with his number 2 Ford Diffusion, doing a good job in trying to allow the top 3 to get away. Taylor Hirsch does not want that to happen. The 74 keeping him honest for the time being, P4, but not quite in a spot to make a move. Somebody that is, though, the 35 of Chris Shearburn to the inside in turn number 1. He tries to get a spot away for the non of Austin Jones. Car pushes up the hill, can't do it, and now he's in a vulnerable spot. Here comes Bordeaux up the bottom.
Yeah, Bordeaux now to the inside will look to make that pass. 35, Chris Shearburn, just a little bit of a bobble, but it'll cost him now. Is Bordeaux actually looking to the inside of the 9 machine now, too, of Austin Jones, and that'll make that a great battle right there for just outside the top 10 position here. As you see the 0-1 of Tyler Hudson behind him, who had some damage involved in that last caution there, trying to salvage what he can out of this race right now, currently running in the 17th position. So not going to have the finish or the results that he's going to want here tonight, just trying to salvage what he can.
So Bordeaux back to that fight, makes the move. The 9 machine still sits in front of him. But again, this was going on about 4 seconds back from the battle for the race lead, which I think Taylor Hirsch has now made a 4-car fight. He's right there as well. You could look at this in a couple of different lights. You could say Luz is holding these guys up a little bit, or you could say it's the draft that's allowing them to run single file this tightly together. One or the other, somebody's going to make a move sooner than later, as 42 laps go behind us. That time around, we're halfway there. We're going to stop counting up, and we start counting down. So as we cross the halfway point in tonight's race, let's take a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing, the world's premier online racing game with professionally organized racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, the IMSA, and more. Your pole sitter, Ryan Luza, continues to pace the way from MIS. He sits just 9 100ths of a second in front of Michael Conti and just 2 1/10ths of a second in front of Ray Alfala, who run 2-3 at the moment. Taylor Hirsch started 4th. It's exactly where he runs, just a little bit further behind. And Landon Harrison caps off your top 5 as they run. Benefield behind in 7th. Matthew Moose, he'll fall actually back 1 position as Jorgensen takes P8. Moose falls back to 9th, and John Gorlinski rounds out your top 10.
Trey Edson, how about a good rebound for him? That caution came out just when it needed to. He's in 11th currently. Samuel Roush up to the 12th spot. Jonathan Goke as well, up 5 spots to the 13th. 14th is Austin Jones. Derek Bordeaux now in the 15th spot. 16th to Chris Shearburn. Matt Busa in the 17th spot. Fell back from an 8th starting spot here on the night. 18th, Tyler Hudson. Santiago Tires is in the 19th spot. And Chuck Sweetie now up to 20th.
21st position on the racetrack, Chad Coleman, Paul Nicholas Cooper in 22nd, Doywoods 23rd, Alex Bergeron 24th, and Justin Fuller, who was up front in this race, got stuck a lap down when the pit stops were going down, and caution flag through in the middle of that. He took a wave by, but has only been able to get back up to P25. Behind him, Jason Miller 26th, 27th, Brandon Hastings, Bradley Havard 28th, 29th is Greg Spears, and Tyler Dalton in 30th.
Early trouble for the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke has put him back in the 31st position. 32nd to Joshua Campbell. Michael Priester now runs 33rd. Matthew Quick to 34th. 35th is John Wilco. 36th and last car on the lead lap. That's the 98 of Steve Herring. And then 3 laps down, you have the 44 of Paul Fugate, who has pulled it behind the garage. The rest of these drivers as well in the garage. 38th, that's Daniel Eberhardt. Dylan Jones, 39th. 40th, Ray Rittenauer. Garrett Smithley, 41st. And Josh Parker, 42nd, while Bentley Glazer gets the D and S here for tonight. 43 cars did make the schedule, or did make it to run this race here tonight.
And that has been your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, visit iRacing.com and sign up today. You can use the LSRTV promo code by entering PR-2016 LSRTV when you register for a new iRacing membership. and along with the 13 cars and 14 tracks that come free of charge with a brand new iRacing subscription, you'll get the late model tossed in with that deal absolutely free. Again, that is PR-2016 LSRTV, valid on new iRacing memberships only. So if you've been looking to hop onto the sim, no better time to do it now. Battle for the race lead continuing on, and I know when we were running through those guys inside of the top 10, a couple of them started fighting again, and some of those positions, that's a battle back in 8th.
Yeah, it is a battle back in 8th, so the 8 car falling back just a little bit now to 9th now since restarting on the pole, or in the top spot here over this restart. That's been about about 16 laps or so into it now. You see the 88 now with Mark Jorgensen Jr. looking to take that spot as well. So move the 88 machine up to the 9th spot, up a couple spots from the start of this race. Doing a good job here. Gorlinski, one of those drivers, had to take the wave around there, but he's done very well with that, showing the speed that we've seen out of him over the past 10 weeks or so. And he's moved his way back up inside the top 10. A good job, a good recovery for the 71 or 21.
Yeah, it's all about pick it up and do what you can with it. But again, this is a relatively short race. We talked about Pocono from 1 week ago, a 90-mile race, or rather 90-lap race in the Poconos 2.5-mile racetrack. A lot longer to get around that joint than it is here at Michigan. So we're already halfway through. We were just on the grid about 40 minutes or so ago, and we dropped the green flag. And the next time around, going to be at 36 laps to go. So the pace in this race has picked up substantially after 2 yellow flags. The question is, that yellow flag coming at a very interesting time when it did, forcing a couple of people on the strategy, as we mentioned, Justin Fuller, one of them, to get put back in the pack a little bit on strategy. I want to see how far these guys can make it on fuel. Can they do it on one more stop with the given time left?
Yeah, I think they're definitely right there. 35 laps here. 35 laps left to go this next time by, and we saw them about lap 30. We saw the 51 of Justin Fuller start the pit stop, so they're definitely in a window to make it on one more stop for this race here, as long as we stay green. Obviously, caution would change that up quite a bit here as we see Gorlinski move up another spot over Matthew Moose, now up to 7th here to exit turn number 4. But you're going to see that, I think, a lot with these guys, is when they're going to maybe basically take the remainder of the laps that we had here and just split it in half and see where it takes them. But we will see, and a lot of it will play effect also is what the leaders do. If they stay out that much longer than everybody else, you're going to see some of these guys outside the top 10 or even inside the top 10 try to make up that time and pit a little bit early and maybe try to steal the win away.
And with the short pitch strategy comes the risk that we've already seen, getting stuck down in the pit lane. But you can definitely bet that some of the bigger teams here that have those live pit crews, guys on top of the pit box, guys spotting for them inside the sim, they're talking over the radio channels as this race goes on, and they are most definitely keeping a close eye on the strategy calls that everybody else is making. We're starting to see these leaders break up a little bit. There were 4 cars on top of each other 10 laps ago, and as we get to the longest green flag stretch we've seen all night long, Taylor Hirsch is now falling a second off, and even Michael Conti, which I'll give the 5 a bye on this one, Andy, because he's passed, with 42 cars starting this race, and he being pretty much near the back. I'd say he's passed 30 cars at least since that first caution flag. His tires begin to wither away. He's now 0.6 of a second back, but Alfala and Luzo, once again, with that 5 now behind them, step for step, going toe-to-toe, continue to trace each other for the race lead.
Yeah, and Michael Conti's a hard charger. He likes to go for it, get everything he can out of that machine every single lap. And so a longer run like this, seeing him fall back just a bit, not surprised by it, but at the same time, I think it puts that threshold. He knows exactly how hard to drive it for how long. And, of course, you're talking about a peak antifreeze champion, too. So not to take him out of the question at all for this race here or how this thing's going to play out, but for maybe an earlier pit stop than those other guys in front of him, a couple laps, might give him the advantage he'll need late in the going.
Going to be with inside of 30 to go very soon. You look back to when we took this restart, Luza has been able to stay in front of it all despite numerous challenges from behind. And when you consider the pressure that's been up against him, not that the O2 doesn't have the experience, but he's been doing a good job sticking in there. We went back into green flag conditions at lap number 34, so we would be 20 laps back green this time around, and we have 30 laps to go. If you could make it to lap number 60 by that math, one stop good enough to get you to the end? That would be obviously a 25-lap stint and a 25-lap stint to get to the end of this race. So we'll keep an eye to see as this time by they take lap 55 if they can make it those 6 additional laps to get to that point.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll see them, especially the leaders. You're going to see them stay out as long as possible because we saw exactly what happened with the pit stop starting and those guys, the caution flag coming out. So you're going to see these leaders probably stick it out as long as they can, especially if they don't have any more pressure from guys behind them. Michael Conti right now still falling back about a second off of the pace right now. Taylor Hurst as well. Then nobody's really on the move here, making up any ground. I would say the 21 of John Gorlinski has done the most, but he's pretty much fallen stalemate now to this point as well here. And you can actually see the 51 of Justin Fuller catching up to him. Justin Fuller making his pit stop just a couple laps ago, deciding one of the first ones to come down again. You can see him now making up. And how about Adam Benefield? Up to the 6th spot right now. Started 24th. The 83 getting the job done again here this week.
Yeah, there's several guys that have had very strong runs. And again, for those who don't tune in week out here on LSRTV, this is the second segment of the 2016 racing calendar. Segment 1 complete. We already crowned Ray Alfala the Segment 1 2016 points champion. The race winners from segment number 1, although that is a separate points championship from these set of 14 races right now, we're on round 3 of 14 in segment 2. Race winners from segment 1, race winners from segment 2, they get a ticket into segment 3 or the chase at the end of the season for the overall title. If that does not make up the entire chase grid, combined points from segment 1 and segment 2 will also be used to fill in those final positions on the chase grid. So while this is a separate points championship, how good you were in those first races and how good you are in this tonight and the next 11 races of segment number 2 is essential when you look at the big picture. Would it be nice to win the segment 2 points championship? Absolutely. Is Ray Alfala in a good spot to win segment 1 and segment 2 points? Sure. We all know what he really wants, and we all know what everybody else really wants, and that is to win the overall championship at the end of the chase, at the end of 2016. And these races, well, you might think of them in the context of this title fight alone, is big when you look at the bigger picture.
Oh, yeah, every race matters that much more. And, for this size is up. I mean, we're going to be coming to Michigan here in a couple months again. So this obviously helping these guys out. And we're going to hit some tracks, too, coming up in this second segment that you're going to see in the chase, as well as you see the 2 of Ray Alfala now coming down pit road. Locking them up, though, getting slowed down. Michael Conti coming in as well. They'll make their pit stop here on lap 58. So these guys looking to make about a 26-lap run to the finish here. Michael Luza still staying out on the racetrack. Just got passed by Justin Fuller. Fuller able to get his lap back right now, making up some time with those fresh tires. It's going to be interesting to see where he plays out.
Yeah, that's a little close. If they ran it all the way they could, that's a little bit tight for comfort. We'll see if Luza responds this time. No doubt Alfala coming in, going to obviously try to get as much Sunoco race fuel in that car as he can, but he's going to take 4 fresh tires. And Luza knows that he can't give up the 2 seconds per lap of track position, so he comes in immediately following, and a little bit more of a conservative entry to pit road. Taylor Hurst going to come in from second. Landon Harrison going to go to the point. Let's see where these guys cycle out in comparison with the 02 and the 2. Find out where they end up in comparison to each other once Luza is serviced and back out there. That'll really tell you how important that 1-lap differential is.
I'll tell you what, I'm watching that 51 go around this racetrack as well, and he just actually made his way around Ray Alfala and Michael Conti where they were on access road coming off of pit road, so it's going to work for the time being to keep him out in front, but the fresh tires behind him, you got that 2 of Ray Alfala coming, it's not going to bode too well. You can see him already closing the gap on the 51 as they come down the front straightaway, so it won't be too long. It definitely gave him some track position, but I definitely don't think it will give him any opportunity. But how about that right there? You see Luza now on the pit access road there, coming off of pit lane, and you can see I'm watching Alfala and Fuller getting close, but you can see right there just that 1 lap how much separation between the 2 and the 02.
Yeah, that's crazy. He just came out of pit road, and the 2 of Ray Alfala was gone. and Alfala again was chasing. He pits 1 lap sooner, and again, maybe they were also thinking about us here as Alfala comes off of the corner with 25 laps to go. So this would be the point where you split that differential of when we were last going, I guess, well, second to last time. Now we were on pit road for service off of the restart to now a cycle of green flag pit stops. The 1 lap difference by Ray Alfala has himself 25 seconds back from Trey Edson, who is yet to pit, and it has Lusa 27.8 seconds back. That is 2.4 seconds. That's basically right on the money with the 2 seconds of tire fall off that we expected to play into a factor there.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was a good call. I guess being in second place at that point was good because then Ray Alfala really could, get that advantage because he said, okay, well, he's staying out, I'm going in, and make that last second decision there to give him the advantage back out on the racetrack. So it's worked out for him right now and got him that about that 2-second lead right now. So Ray Alfala trying to hang on to it now. If it stays green, it's going to be looking pretty good for his 7th win of the season.
Edson still out in front of the field. Perhaps he hopes to. He's not going to have any question on fuel, I think. And I think this is also a little bit assuring for Alfala and Fuller. Again, losing the conversation as well. They run 4, 5, and 6 right now. And because if Alfala, that was all he had, I wasn't going to be convinced he could make it to the end. But I think with Trey Edson now still out on the racetrack, 30 laps now after he was last down, no question, those guys are going to get to the pit road. So the only strategy that I can think of, and it makes sense for a guy that started 26th, John Wilco still out in second, who started 28th, or rather, that's Matthew Quick, sorry, and John Wilco is the one who started 42nd, who has stayed out till third. Those guys have been mid-pack and at the back of the pack for the better part of the night. Edson up front from strategy a little bit earlier. I like that they're making the strategy call. It may not work out for them, but you got to try something. They're hoping they can stretch it knowing how important tires are. Go maybe 5 more laps depending on how much fuel they have on board. Get a yellow flag. The guys behind them then are going to also want fresh tires, and they can come in with them. And next thing you know, they take up the top 3 spots on a racetrack. It may not work that way, but I think it's definitely a worthwhile gamble for somebody and a couple of guys really who have just not had that spark tonight to be up there.
Oh, absolutely. There's always going to be somebody that tries this strategy, and why not? You got nothing to lose if you're running outside the top 20 or outside the top 15 even to take this opportunity, to take this chance, basically to hope for a caution. I mean, who would have expected the one we saw with Tyler Hudson there on the front straightaway right during the first round of green flag stops. So you never know when the caution's going to come out, and you might as well stretch it as much as you can. You got a pretty comfortable lead right now over Alfala, at least for the 89 and the 1 right now currently. So they got plenty of time to make that call, and obviously if the caution doesn't come out, they come down, they get their service, and we'll see where all the chips fall, but they will be a lot faster than those guys that are out there.
So this time by Trey Edson up at the front of the field. He will not concede quite yet, but will be the one that brings us to 20 laps to go from Michigan International Speedway. Matt Quick still second. John Wilco no longer in third. He's coming down pit road. Ray Alfala and Ryan Michael Luza. The chase is on between the 2 and the 0-2. They're expected to go back to the race lead, and there is a 2.4 second differential in between them. They were dead even when they ran nose to tail, and when they came out of pit road, they were 2.4 seconds apart. A couple of laps later, they're about 2.4 seconds apart. So the 0-2, he might just have to bank on a caution flag if he wants to get up there. You know they're going to be pushing it. Fuel is not a question. They're going to race it out to the checkered flag here from MIS and the 81 machine of Edson. He's really trying to get that car as far as he can, but as we head inside of our ProGeek 20 to go, we'll take this opportunity to step away for one more quick break, and we'll do so on our LSRTV side-by-side, so you don't miss a moment of the action. Alfala chasing down a second win on the segment. He's primed to take back over the race lead.
While lions are notorious for their voracious appetites, they spend a great deal of time feeding other creatures. In fact, lions will take great care to ensure there's plenty to go around. As you can see, they keep giving with utter ferocity. Bravo, lions, and bon appetit. Do good, be a lion.
We're back live from the Irish Hills of Michigan on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Tonight's coverage of the ASCORS ProGeek Consulting Cup Series is brought to you by ProGeek Consulting LLC. Since 1998, ProGeek has been providing IT solutions to small and mid-sized businesses in the Minneapolis, St. Paul metropolitan area. Their strong work ethic, attention to detail allows them to be the best solution for your needs. We specialize in a wide range of solutions, including infrastructure, networking, server storage, virtualization, security, virtual CIO, and IT strategy. And yes, it did say on the script to say that with a little bit of excitement because Trey Edson, a close call. Ray Alfalo, we knew he was coming. He had better tires, and he wasn't going to wait around. He didn't care if the one was in his way. Moves him right out of the way. So with that, Trey Edson finally gives up the race lead, and Alfalo in front at 15 laps to go. Ryan Luza has made up a 1 second differential since we last stepped away. He is on the run, but running out of time, slowly but surely, as his tires, and Ray Alfalo's for that matter, begin to wear away. His advantage on fresh rubber is going to fade. He's got 1.029 seconds between himself and an automatic ticket into the championship. But a first win on segment number 2, he's got to make it up, though.
Yeah, 14 laps to go right here. We'll see how much the gap changes right there. But damage to the front of that tube machine, trying to get around Trey Edson, actually getting into the back of him right there off of turn number 2 that last time around. Definitely hurt him quite a bit. 9/10 of a second the difference now as the 0-2 is definitely on the move here late in the going and looking for the race lead. He's got to chase him down, though, off of turn number 2. Down the back straightaway, just under a second separate the top 2.
Knocks a 10th off that time. If he can continue to knock a 10th off every single time by, he'll get there. The question is, you can get to somebody, sure. You got to be able to get to them in time to try to set up a move and try to pass them. You got to be able to get there. So 9/10 at lap number 71. At lap number 72, the gap going to go to 7/10 of a second. Ryan Luza can taste blood as he closes in.
Yeah, he's definitely, that's one of those things, too, though. As the driver in second right now, you got to make sure you don't overdrive the car and try to, push this thing and wear those tires out that much quicker. You know you can see that driver right in front of you. You know you're closing down the lap or the time in between you. You can see it right there, actually, really into turn number 3. You can see it actually visually close down a couple of car lengths that time. So you know you're coming. You know you're a little bit faster than that machine in front of you. But you got to be careful. You don't want to overdrive it at this point and wear out that right front tire.
Yeah, you don't want to, again, it's terrible because you got to get going, and when you get up to that guy as the gap goes to 6/10 of a second, naturally, you want to give it a little bit more. You're going to be sawing at the wheel a little bit more. You're going to be pushing it further off of the corner. It is going to be so much tighter that time, too. You can see just how close Ryan Luza is getting to the fence, but at the same time, you're probably already going 100%. You can't just shift into an imaginary 5th gear. It's not a Fast and Furious movie. You got to stay calm. You got to run your line. You got to trust in your race car, and Ryan Luza, he is there. He is on the doorstep at 11 to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't have that extra little jolt he can hit for the extra speed, but half a second separating them now. You can see the gap still closing. It looks like Ray able to hang on to what gap they do have on corner exit. But the entry of the corner, that's where that 0-2 is definitely making up some ground. So every single time, every single lap into the entries of these corners into 1 and 3, you can see that gap closing up that much better. The only problem is once you get to him, you got to pass that to him. We know passing Ray Alfalo not going to be an easy task at all.
You know, if there's one person that you don't want to have to go up against, it's a 2-time NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series champion. And I'm talking about how close Luz is getting to the fence. At 10 to go that time, Ray Alfalo, you might have been able to fit a lug nut in between his right-hand side and the outside fence of the racetrack, not much more, but he is going to be there. Taylor Hurst is 2.5 seconds back. He waits in the wings if something is to happen as these guys battle for the race lead. We've seen Ray Alfalo show that he's not going to mess around, even with a slower car to get him out of the way. Don't think he's going to take it easy on Luza as the 0-2 tries to execute a pass. He's going to make that Ford Fusion as wide as he can.
Absolutely. The gap now 2 car lengths separate him off of turn number 4 this time, and He'll come to the stripe this time. 9 laps to go here. Not a lot of time, but there's plenty of time as he's got closed the gap now up to about 0.2 of a second here for Ryan Luza. He's getting the job done, closing the gap. You can see it right there in the corner entry. Closes about another car length now, and they'll remain about even until they get to turn number 3. So a couple more laps, you're going to see that 0-2 right on the back bumper, especially with this draft. It's going to be fun to watch these two battle it out for the win.
It is going to be a classic head-to-head showdown at Michigan. Going to be to the point where in 3 laps time, a caution flag is going to end this race. Been clean and green for the last 42 laps of contest here tonight from Brooklyn to Michigan. He is on the bumper and ready to make a move. What can Ryan Luza do after starting on pole position here tonight, but losing the race lead early to Ray Alfalla? The two's had a lot of clean air. He's not going to give the 0-2 any space. He shuts the door side by side and glued to each other in the center of 1 and 2. Nobody going to give an inch, and it's a drag race off the corner.
Wow, right there, a little bit of contact. They're going to stay side by side for the time being into turn number 3. The 0-2 should pull the advantage on the bottom side, but Ray Alfalla with the top side and the momentum, he'll try to pinch him down again through 3 and 4. They're going to remain side by side. It's a drag race off of turn number 4 for the race lead, and it's going to be a close one this time by, but it looks like the 0-2 will edge him out at the line, and we only have 7 laps to go.
Question is, does the two decide to continue to fight back on the outside, or does he look for a crossover? He'll stay right there. There's damage on the left side of Alfalla. That's from the contact that they had. Incredible racing. Second time around, they stay glued to each other's door. Neither driver going to give up the race for the win. 79 laps in of 85 on the night. No advantage in turn 3.
Yeah, still no advantage. This is some fantastic racing here at Michigan. Shows you, even with damage, the outside lane, a little bit of momentum. It's not going to carry the 0-2, trying to squeeze him up to the wall right there. They'll have to have him not quite clear. It almost looked like he would there. And Ray Alfalla continuing the battle on the top side. Contact before they get to turn number 1.
Oh,
more contact.
They door each other in turn 1. The 0-2 Alusa came up off the apron, and Alfalla met him right there on the front stretch in the center of the turn, and just like that, the 0-2 Chevrolet, he'll limp to the front of the field. Now the gap from 3rd begins to close as these guys go at it. He trolls it in, and Alfalla with a bump and run in turn number 3. The battle for the race lead, physical as ever, and side by side again. Coming to 5 laps to go, nobody is giving up.
That was a bump and run if I ever seen one. Not that I've seen a lot of them at Michigan here, but Ray Alfalla will lead that lap that time as they get to 5 to go. He's on the inside lane. Now Luza on the outside trying to take advantage of the top side and the momentum. Like you said, closing in behind Taylor Hurst. He's watching this going on in front of him, hoping these guys will take each other out. Ray Alfalla real wiggly out there. A little bit of contact again off turn 2. They'll single file it out into 3.
We know Luza's got the faster car. He's the one that chased down Ray Alfalla, and when he got to clean air, the two had to do the bump and run to get to him. Does the Alfalla Tech Ford concede at this point? 1 car length advantage off of the final turn as Ryan Luza tries to get away before he finds the 2 on his doorstep yet again. The gap between P1 and P2 at the lawn, 1/10 of a second. Meanwhile, Taylor Hurst closes into 1.3 back in 3rd.
Okay. He's definitely on the move right now, and no damage on the 74. The problem is he's running out of time to catch these guys. He's closed the gap tremendously with why these guys were racing right now, but it looks like Luza's starting to pull out about a car and a half length lead right now as they head back into turn number 3. Ray Alfalla doing everything he possibly can, trying to utilize that draft as well to close the gap, to try to give this one last run here. It's this time by 3 laps to go as they exit turn 4.
And I think that might be all she wrote this time by. 82 down, and we take lap number 83. 3 laps to go. A caution flag would now end this race, and it is Luza down by 2.5 car lengths. Hurst, he'll probably be able to get the gap to into 1 second because, again, both of these cars running with damage. You can really see it on that jet black paint you see on board with the 2 Ford of Ray Alfalla. But I think at this point they may just be stuck at that 2 car length of a differential. Popsicle sticks in the air this next time by. We'll see if that number 2 machine's got anything left for him as they try to stay in front of Taylor Hurst coming in quickly from behind.
And they got live traffic that might come involved in this as well, too, which might be the last hope for Ray Alfalla to possibly get the win here as they close in on the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke first. The second one will be the 87 of Ray Rittenauer. High side goes O'Rourke, allows the two drivers to go down to the bottom. 2 car lengths separate them. They're coming off of turn number 2. They only got about a lap and a half to settle this one out here. Here comes Trey Edson now behind these guys with the fresh tires. He's a lap down, trying to make up some ground, trying to get back on the lead lap. And right now the gap still separating these guys up front a little bit more. That time is Luza looking for the win, looking for the white flag now off of turn 4.
Rittenauer stays high and tries to stay out of the conversation. The 2 machine of Ray Alfala much slower than a faster number 1 machine of Trey Edson, who is on fresh tires. Can this possibly be a factor on the final lap of contest? The 2 machine, he'll stay in behind and in line as Edson sits in between your race leaders. He'll go to the outside and get by. So the 0-2 and the 2, they've got one more chance to fight it out. Alfala drove it in real hard to turn number 3 at 5 laps to go. Was that his final push at the win? The gap sits 2.5 car lengths for the final time in turn 3. The Alfala Tech Ford has got nothing for him, and 1 lane up off the bottom of the racetrack in an incredible battle late in this race. Pole sitter Ryan Luza gonna finally get the results that he deserves. Final time, checkered flag winner at Michigan.
What a great finish to this race, and what a great charge by the 0-2, and basically a little bit of redemption for himself after losing that one last week at Pocono. He's able to pick up the win here at Michigan. Ray Alfala, another second place finish, and I think it's about his 8th or 9th one this season so far since Daytona, but Ray Alfala, another solid run here tonight. Second place, laps led, but just not quite enough to get the win. How about Taylor Hurst, 74? A solid run right there, and he was closing. A few more laps, he might have had the car to beat.
Luza going to come to a stop, but he's got to catch his breath after that one. An incredible one. You mentioned Alfala, another second-place finish. Another night that you could look at it in disappointment, but for how good that 2 has been and really how far ahead of the field he's been on a consistent basis all season long, it continues to reiterate the point that Ray Alfala is most definitely a championship favorite, not only here tonight on Sunday nights on LSRTV, but the way that we've been seeing race it all over the sim in the last couple of months, maybe also on Tuesday nights for the NASCAR Peak Anniversary Series. 2-time has to take his second place finish, though, on this segment, and Ryan Luza, and I think one of the most incredible head-to-head battles that I've ever seen here. 2 of the best drivers on the sim win at it, and Ryan Luza came on top at the end of this one, and we'll be trackside talking with him and the rest of your podium finishers in just a moment. We'll step away one final time, come back in just a moment for the LSR TV post-race show, and we'll get you prepped for round number 4 in 2 weeks' time, back here on LSR TV on the 26th from Sonoma. Right back here live from Michigan International Speedway, you're watching LSR TV's continuing coverage of the ASCORS ProGeek Consulted Cup Series. Post-race is next. Live from the Irish Hills of Michigan to the virtual Michigan International Speedway. I want to welcome you back into LSRTV's coverage of the ASCORS ProGeek Consulted Cup Series for the LSRTV post-race show. As always, our continuing coverage brought to you by ProGeek Consulting. Since 1998, ProGeek has been providing IT solutions to small and mid-sized businesses in the Minneapolis, St. Metropolitan area. Their strong work ethic and attention to detail allows them to provide the best solutions for your needs. They specialize in a wide range of solutions, including infrastructure, networking, server storage, virtualization, security, virtual CIO, and IT strategy. ProGeek Consulting, proud title sponsor of the ASCORS ProGeek Consulted Cup Series. Let's take a look at your LSRTV full field rundown for the ProGeek Cup Pure Michigan 200. Ryan Lusa from the pole to the win in an incredible battle by 0.3 of a second. He holds off Ray Alfala. Taylor Hurst on the podium. Their trackside waiting for us, and we'll speak with them in just a moment. Adam Benefiel is fourth position with John Gorlinski coming home in fifth. Michael Conti sixth. Derek Bordeaux seventh. Santiago Tires comes home at eighth position with Matthew Moose at ninth. And Tyler Hudson rounds out your top 10. Good recovery after getting caught a lap down early.
Adam Gilliland, after staying out, falling back, and getting everything cycled out the right direction, he'll finish 11th. 12th goes to Samuel Roush, Chuck Sweeting from 33rd to 13th. In this one, Matt Busa, after the win last week, he'll finish 14th here. Mark Jorgensen Jr. to the 15th spot. 16th, Austin Jones. Bradley Hayward will finish 17th. 18th was Jason Miller, I should say. And Doy Woods, 19th, while Paul Cooper rounds out your 20th.
21st position tonight going to go to Chad Coleman. 22nd, Greg Spears. Joshua Campbell, 23rd. Justin Fuller, 24th. And Jonathan Goak rounds out your top 25. Brandon Hastings, 26th. 27th, Tyler Dalton. Landon Harrison in 28th position. 29th was Trey Edson. And final driver on the lead lap. And rounding out your top 30 is Michael Priester.
Alex Bergeron in the 12 car will finish one lap down at 31st. Also a lap down, E.J. O'Rourke in the 32nd spot. 33rd goes to Stephen Herring. John Wilco will finish 34th. 35th, 2 laps down, will be the 89 of Matt Quick. Chris Shearburn will finish 36th. 37th to Paul Fugate. Ray Rittenauer will finish 38th. 39th to Daniel Eberhardt. Dylan Jones, 40th. 41st to Garrett Smithley. Josh Parker, 42nd. And Bentley Glazer rounds out your 43-car field here tonight. But it's that time. We'll throw it down to Victory Lane. Evan, he's caught up with our winner tonight.
And I'll stand by the statement that I said earlier. It was an incredible finish inside of the final 10 laps. And I'll say that has to be the most exciting head-to-head finish that we've seen all racing calendar right here on LSRTV. And Ryan Lusa going to end up in front of Ray Alfalo when it's all said and done. And he wins the ProGeek Cup Pure Michigan 200, caught up with the driver of the O2 down in Gatorade Victory Lane. Ryan, congratulations to you guys. I'll ask about some specifics about the grueling 170 miles of competition here tonight. But first, that battle, you pitted one lap after Ray here. You raced him down. He wouldn't give up any space. You wouldn't give up any space. And I'm sure it was a lot more stressful than you as opposed to the excitement that it was for us. But talk us through that fight.
Oh, it was super stressful. At first, I didn't really think I was going to get to him. But I started pushing it hard there, just trying to put pressure on him. And he had one incident with Trey Aitson, I believe, when he was leading. And that closed, that was like half a second in a lap. So that definitely helped a lot. And, I wasn't expecting quite that much. We still had 10 to go, but I think he knew that was a race for the win at the time. And, we raced hard for it. There's a lot of contact. Wreck. And we were able to do that, so it was a ton of fun for sure.
This entire race for you guys, starting from pole position, and in our little bit of a pre-race show, we talked about some of the numbers that we've seen only through 2 races, so kind of hard to get a really concrete look at how you guys have really kicked off this second segment. But for you, 8th in the championship, this is your second pole position here tonight. You had the most laps led into tonight. You're going to have the most laps led in a Nvidia driver outside of tonight. But the big difference was you guys had a spectacular average start of a 3.5, but then the worst average finish inside of the top 9 at a 14.0. What was the key tonight for not only obviously getting the start that you've expected and starting up front, but being able to finish that through the course of the run?
Just not making any mistakes. I think at Charlotte we were leading with like 10 or 15 to go, something late in the race, and I jumped a restart. I wasn't too used to the going on green deal, so that definitely got me and got caught up in a late race wreck. And then last week at Pocono, we had it in the bag, and the caution came out with 8 to go. And I was so worried about being, a second and a half off of fresh tire. I wanted to go get tire, but that didn't matter when the caution comes out the first lap. So just being able to capitalize, and I really hate late race cautions, so it's nice to not deal with that for sure.
And the good news is in the second segment that win here tonight going to put you in a prime position to be a part of the championship fight when it comes down to segment number 3. But things continue on, and I know we're going to have an off week next week on Sunday night. The action not going to stay silent, though, here on LSRTV. We have a special event coming to everybody in 7 days' time, but you guys get to enjoy the day off, and then you're going to be going at it in 2 weeks' time, and we go road course racing from Sonoma. What's going to be the key to tackling that one of the abnormalities on this 2016 calendar?
I don't really know. I'm not too confident in my road course racing abilities. I haven't really done much of it. So I'll just do a little testing and see if I can't get some speed. I'm definitely not going to be contending for the win, though, or at least I don't expect to. So just try to get a good finish, not wreck, and come contend when the ovals come back.
Before we let you go, I want to give you an opportunity to give a shout out to the sponsors and anybody else behind the scenes. Ryan, who makes it happen for you?
All the guys at HPM, High Performance Motorsports. We run pretty competitively in the Peak Series, so thank all those guys for all the work they do week in and week out, and Brian for putting on this fun league to run.
I want to thank you for sticking around and chatting with us, sir. Again, congratulations. That was a good win for you guys, and that was a spectacular thing to watch. We wish you the best of luck going forward. Enjoy the week off. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you, sir. Glad we could put on a show.
That's tonight's winner. For the Michigan International Speedway, Ryan Luza gets the job done tonight. And on the other side of that conversation, 0.3 of a second behind, Ray Alfalla had it, but just couldn't hang on for 5 laps extra. And if it was the pure Michigan 165, he might have been able to get the job done. But those extra 5 laps at the end of it all, just a little bit too much for Ray Alfalla. The strategy call put him in front, not enough to hang on. Another great finish, though, P2, that Andy Kessler is trackside with him.
Yeah, I'm down here on pit road with the driver that finished second in the number 2, Ray Alfalla, and we're getting close now, flirting with double digits for second place finishes for you, Ray. But talk about that final stint there, that final run with Ryan Luza there, that battle you guys had going on. Neither one of you looked like you wanted to give it up too easily. You guys beat and bang a little bit here at Michigan, which is almost, I guess, no something you don't want to do, but you guys were able to do it, hang on to the cars, and had a pretty good fight.
Yeah, it was. It probably looked a little more, intense, I guess, than what it was. I was kind of, just having a good time with it. I short pitted Ryan by a lap, and I came out about 2 seconds ahead or so, and so I needed basically to not get held up, but I caught all the slow cars in the wrong spot, and Trey got loose off the 2, and I ran into the back of him. So I was just, that cost me a lot, and it allowed him to get there much earlier than I thought he was going to get there. And then we were just kind of side drafting on the front stretch and wanted to turn 1, and I got body slammed. So I was just, wanted to turn 3, just kind of let him know to not do that again. But I wasn't gonna wreck him out or anything. And once we got side by side and whatnot, then he just had the better tires and went on by on the outside. But kind of funny all that to finish second again.
Yeah, you're definitely getting all these second place finishes. I mean, it may be a little bit disappointing, but you got to feel pretty happy that you're at least in it at the end of these things. You still lead the league with the 6 wins, but at the same time, all these second place finishes, at least every single week that you come out here, you got an opportunity to win these things.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun competition tie out there. I was very surprised to see Chris Shearburn. I haven't seen him in a race in like 6 years, so that's pretty cool. People joining to race, and I think tonight Chris Overland was spotting for me, and I think he'll probably be joining the series next race. So yeah, it's a lot of competition out there.
That's a lot of fun to see all you guys being able to, I guess, battle it out, and it's a little more pressure intense when you guys do it against each other on Tuesday nights, but to get to come in and do it with the fixed setup here on Sunday nights, it makes it that much more fun, I'm sure. A little less pressure, but at the same time makes the fun, or at least the racing, that much more fun as well.
Yeah, and usually these races are set up to be pretty hot weather, so the track is extremely slick, and it's it's pretty fun out there. So it's always a pretty big challenge, and that's something that we have now, even with the fixed setups, the way the car drives. It's also, it can be challenging just about with any setup, which we didn't have that in the past. So I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, definitely. As it goes on and each build comes, it makes it that much more fun to get to race and to get the action like we see on these racetracks. A lot of fun to do. Another second place finish for you though, Ray. Sponsor shout outs at your opportunity.
Yeah, followtech.com if you're looking for a gaming computer. Thanks to Chris Overland for the paint job. The paint was a little out of line with the new 2016 bodies, and he touched it up well. Wendell Scott Foundation, Stemsom X, and Snowcone Productions, and thanks to ASCORS for putting on the league, and we'll be back in 2 weeks at Sonoma.
Well, there you go. Get a week off, but you got to do it road course racing in just 2 weeks' time. So we'll see you in Sonoma here in a couple weeks.
See you guys.
There you have it. Second place finisher, Ray Alfala. Another second place. He's flirting with double digits on those, Evan, but right now you're caught up with our third place finisher, Taylor Hurst.
Yeah, speaking of double digits, Taylor Hurst was looking at quite a little bit of a gap there late and tried to come in and play the Kyle Busch, if you would, that third car, watching these guys go at each other in front of him, and he was almost able to get to him. Still a great result for the driver of the 74. Started fourth, comes home in third tonight, caught up with him trackside. Taylor, congratulations, a good finish for you guys. Going green from lap number 34 through a cycle of green flag pit stops, and then seeing kind of how the tires were all shaping out there in the strategy at the end. You guys think you made the right call there, coming down for the final little bit of green flag service in comparison to where he put you guys when it was all said and done?
Oh, yeah, Evan. We didn't really have a choice but to pit whenever Ray did the lap after, so, we were able to reel him in a little bit at a time because we had a lot fresher tires, but there was just too big of a gap to get to either one of them two. And shout out to Alex Bergeron for pushing me there at the end. I almost got to him, but just didn't run it hard enough at the beginning. And I had a little nose damage from that caution there about lap 30 and hurt me on the straights a little bit. But, overall, it was a good result.
We saw plenty of exciting action on the restarts, as we come to expect here at Michigan International Speedway. Draft seemed to be a fairly large part of it, keeping guys together in groups of 3 and 4 on the course of the night. You guys have a good qualifying effort. Normally, we'll talk about races like this, and we'll mention how only 5 or only 4 of the guys maybe that started inside of the top 10 end up finishing inside the top 10. 8 of them finish inside the top 10 here tonight. Only Adam Benefield, who started 24th and came home 4th, and Matthew Moose, who kind of a stretch to say he really didn't start inside the top 10, really just qualified outside in 12th, comes home inside the top 10 as well. So track position looked extremely important out there.
Absolutely. You can be back in traffic and you can be the fast car on the track, but you're not going to be able to make up the track position because people are holding you up a few tenths at a time, and just the gap to the lead just keeps on opening up. So it's definitely good to stay up front and be up front.
You guys do a good job here tonight and get back inside of the top 5. Momentum is something that we always like to talk about, and I'll ask you what we've asked the other two guys at the podium here as well. You have a good finish. You want to translate that into a good finish the next week, try to build up a trip to victory lane. You do have a week off, though, and then we go racing at Sonoma on a road course. Do you think that a top 3 finish here can still carry momentum over to the road course race, and how confident are you there?
I'm really confident. A minute ago, I'm really excited for all the races coming up. I mean, we got Daytona after Sonoma, but that's just like a lottery. But Sonoma and New Hampshire and all them tracks, man, I'm really confident going into those.
Well, we know that while it may not be as exciting as the finish of this one, I don't know how good of a view you had of those guys going at it, but they about took each other to the fence and gave you that one at the end. Always love mixing things up, and we look forward to that race from Sonoma in 2 weeks' time. Taylor, before we let you go, sponsor a shout-out. Who makes it happen for you?
Shout out to APC and 1UP. We work really hard on the setups every week, and all the support from them guys, man, is what keeps me going. Shout out to Adam Benefield for paying my way into this segment, and shout out to you guys in the booth and Brian Schoenberg for putting this thing on.
Taylor, thanks for sticking around and chatting with us a little bit. Hope you guys enjoy the week off, and we'll see you when we get twisty in 2 weeks' time.
Yes, sir.
It's your third place finisher tonight, driving the number 74 machine, Taylor Hurst, on the podium in tonight's ProGeek Cup, Pure Michigan 200. The third round on the second segment on 2016 now behind us, Andy. I think start to finish a great race. I might upgrade what I said about that battle. Like, that might be one of the best battles I've ever seen. It wasn't, a finish to 1/10,000th of a second, because we've seen that twice on Friday nights, and I don't think that may ever happen at a racetrack that's not a Daytona or a Talladega. But in terms of two drivers, big name drivers on the sim, going at each other, and both looking like they were trying to wreck each other, but I guess they kept it clean. They both finished the race 1-2. That was just amazing to watch.
Oh, it absolutely was. That was actually probably one of my favorite races so far this season. We've had a bunch of good ones, to not take anything away from any of those races, but I think this one, just the way it played out, a little bit of strategy early on with the cautions, the way they fell, and then to see some guys battle up from all the way from the back to come up to the front, and then to see how well those guys up in the front were able to stay in the top 10 all night long and get the result that they wanted to. So it's not always that you see that as well. So I think tonight was just one of those races. I think it was great that Michigan puts on a great show, and the only good part is we get to come and do it again later on in the season at this track too. So it'll be fun with that. But we get a week off with ASCORS, and we get to go road course racing here in a couple weeks. So one of two stops for the road course. So it'll be fun to head out to Sonoma and see that one too.
Yeah, and just because you're going to have to wait 14 days to find more ASCORS action here on LSRTV, that's far from the end of it, because next Sunday, going to have a special charity race here on LSRTV, beginning at 7 o'clock Eastern, 7:30 actually. Information on when to tune in, and also information on how to get involved and get out on the racetrack will be on our Facebook page at facebook.com/livesimracingtv, and you could also go to our website at www.livesimracing.com. You can look at a full broadcast schedule, find that included in that list. Going to be LSRTV night next Saturday night as the USR Truck Series returns to iRacing Live right here on LSRTV. That and plenty more of sim racing action coming your way. But until next time, we bid you a good night from the Irish Hills of Brooklyn, Michigan. Do want to thank all of you tuning in on behalf of everybody on the team at LSRTV LLC. And for the crew tonight, my name is Evan Pusoko on behalf of Andy Kessler and our producer Cisco Scaramouze. I want to congratulate Ryan Luza for taking home the checkered flag in tonight's ProGeek Cup Pure Michigan 200. We'll see you next time right here on your home for sim racing, LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. Good night.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented under the authority of LSRTV LLC and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations and may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form, nor the accounts and descriptions of this event disseminated in any way without the express written permission of Live Sim Racing TV. LSRTV would like to thank its loyal fans for their continued support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.